Am I the a-hole for humiliating my aunt by saying I never dated her son? My mother's longtime best friend has been my aunt for as long as I can remember. When I was 16, she moved near us and her son started attending my school. From day one, he seemed to think he was dating me. My aunt and my mother both pressed on about how sweet it would be if we were victorious childhood friends. When we didn't date in high school and I went to college, this chatter went away. The truth is, I barely know this guy. We played together on beach vacations as little kids because we were the only kids in a group of buzzed adults. He wasn't even a great playmate. As we got older, it was more and more apparent to at least me that he had some sort of issue. My own theory, albeit this is an armchair theory, is that he is autistic and hasn't gotten any therapy or treatment to help him navigate the world. Anyway, my mom had a barbecue a few weekends ago, and I came with my boyfriend. My aunt then came with her son. After my boyfriend and I sat down, my aunt came over and asked who my friend was. I explained he was my new boyfriend. She sighed and asked how I could do this to her son. My response was along the lines of, "What?" Then she launched into how she understood we were on a break. But showing up at a party with my revenge guy was a low blow, especially since everyone knew we'd get back together. And it wasn't fair to my flavor of the month to pretend like I was available, and she knew how hung up I was on her son. I know this sounds insane the way I put it, but she seemed so genuine that it was very convincing, and my boyfriend was visibly shocked. I had no idea where this came from, so I said, "Auntie, Sonny and I have never dated." I took him to one casual dance as a kindness. I don't know what is told you about our relationship, but the reality is, we just say hi on Facebook sometimes. She accused me of saving face in front of my boyfriend. He laughed, and I freaked out. I told her, very loudly, that this is crazy, that I'm not, and never have dated her son. That is really, truly, and utterly undateable. I don't know a single girl who would date this boy. She had just assumed that I'd go along with this crazy narrative that would somehow insulate her from dealing with that reality, but I wasn't going to. Then I left, and was lucky enough to catch my boyfriend before he left, so I had to ride home. She and my mother sent me emails explaining that she was humiliated in front of her longtime friends, that I had no business saying that in public to her. I can see now that it would have been better to pull her into the kitchen or the house and explain this to her, since I now think it's possible her son was feeding her lines and she was really shocked, and I did say some harsh things. But in that case, didn't she owe me a trip to the kitchen to call me out on my infidelity? Edit. Some people have said that I was screaming that my aunt's son was undateable. I did not scream, and in fact, several people at the party didn't even know there was a commotion. While I was loud, we were also close to a table full of the sorority sisters that make up my mom and my aunt's friend group. Also, he really is undateable. I've tried to help him set up profiles, and I've even tried to set him up on a date with a few of my friends who I think might really get along with him, but it's been a disaster. Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. She also could have pulled you aside to talk to you privately if her son was truly telling her lies. Instead, she tried to catch you in front of your boyfriend and the rest of the family. Always a great point. Why is it these a-holes get to start trouble and then claim it was wrong to confront them in public? Just wow. Not an a-hole. You may have taken it a bit too far by proclaiming that her son was utterly undateable, but she has some nerve to say you humiliated her after she accused you of cheating in front of your boyfriend. Yeah, saying it was really, truly, utterly undateable, and I don't know a single girl who would date this boy, is a lot. And probably inappropriate. But she shouldn't have continued to push it after you said that you and Sonny had never dated. Lol, what? Not a-hole. She is openly trying to sabotage your relationship doing this, because in her mind you're somehow betrothed to her son. Even if the kid wasn't autistic, you're not interested. And this isn't the Middle Ages where you arrange marriages. In her culture, arranged marriages happen, and the kids just go along with it in a lot of cases. I do wonder if, in her world, we were going to sow wild oats and then follow the script. Next story. Am I the a-hole for purposefully sending my cousin the wrong timing for a movie so the others could enjoy? My 16 female brother Nate, 17 male, was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder when he was 12. At first I walked in eggshells around him, but things are much better now. Most family members know and understand that IED is not just tantrums but a serious issue. Some do not. And one of my cousins, Kira, 17 female, is one of those people. Ever since my parents informed the family about Nate's being diagnosed, she has done nothing but intentionally pushes buttons at every family gathering, outing, or whenever we are together. My parents have talked to my uncle and aunt about this, but they brush it off calling it pranks. Now, my parents will not under any cost damage relations with my dad's brother and his family or my dad's other siblings, but none of my other cousins like Kira or her family. We are forced to be cordial because of our parents. And Kira has to be invited every time us cousins hang out together, most of the time ending with Nate being triggered by Kira. The day before yesterday, we all planned to watch a movie. Our parents knew this, so of course they told Kira's parents who told her. She messaged me and asked me where and when we were supposed to meet at. My brother had been really looking forward to this movie and meeting our cousins after a few months in person. He had also been in a really good mood, and I didn't want Kira to ruin it. So I did what I thought was best at the time. I gave her the wrong timing. I told my cousins and Nate what I did, and they were fully on board. After the movie finished, we came out of the theater and waited for some time at a parking lot. As soon as we saw Kira pulling over, waving at us, all of us waved back with the sweetest smiles, made a run for our cars, got in, and left. As expected, when me and Nate reached home, we were immediately ambushed by our parents about why we abandoned Kira. Apparently, she had cried all the way home. My parents grounded me and Nate for 2 weeks. He surprisingly took it well and said it was worth it. The rest of my cousins were grounded as well. I did text them telling them they could tell their parents it was my idea, but my cousins refused and reiterated what my brother had said. I thought that was the end of it, but my parents have been really hurt by this and said me and Nate humiliated them in front of Kira's parents and that Kira has been inconsolable since. So Reddit. I don't know. Am I the a-hole? Edit. So, a lot of people are wondering why I invited her rather than telling her outright not to come. I didn't invite her. My parents did. Also, if I tried to deny the invitation, then none of my aunts or uncles or my parents would have let us go. I do see how waiting around may have been an a-hole move. Not an a-hole. She can dish it, but she can't take it? Tell your uncle and aunt it was just a prank, and you don't understand why they are overreacting. They don't mind when their own child pranks others, so what's the problem? I'd normally not want to reply to petty with petty, but God, this needs to be the top answer for once. Opie, please, please, please do this. It's really not petty. What Opie did was an actual prank. What the cousin does to Opie's brother is emotional warfare. Not a-hole. Your parents are huge a-holes for allowing your brother to be tormented, just because they want to keep the peace. They would rather their child suffer than their lives get affected in the slightest. Not a-hole. If anything, your parents should see this as an eye-opener that when Kira intentionally messed around with Nate, no one seemed to take it seriously. However, when you guys give Kira a little taste of her own medicine and pranked her, now it's serious? Not a-hole. Does Kira prank all of you or just Nate? The fact that your entire family puts up with Kira's crap is why she keeps doing it. They're enablers. Keep doing what you all are doing. Maybe the grown-ups will finally get the message. It's just Nate, as we all have learned to ignore her. Nate is the only one she can get to react because of the IED. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for pointing out my aunt has a favorite kid at a family dinner? My aunt Mara, 45 female, has 2 kids. Reese, 13 female, and Laura, 9 female. Mara's always clearly preferred Laura. Reese always knew it too. My aunt always makes sure Laura can do the extracurriculars she wants to do. She lets her drop out anytime, even if she's paid in advance. She gives her the birthday she wants every year, and in general she's more affectionate and interested in what Laura's up to. But with Reese, she pushed her into dance when she was 5, and made her do dance for 4 years. Reese never liked dancing. It never seemed to fit in, and Mara hated it. She would ask her why she couldn't put more effort in, etc. That she had always wanted a daughter who did dance. I, 18 female, was around there a lot because Aunt Mara babysat me for my parents while they worked, and then I just had to wait at her house until my parents got home so we could save on electric bills and stuff. I once asked Aunt Mara why Reese couldn't do something she wanted to do, and she told me they didn't have the money for it. Reese never got to do another one, but Laura's several. Soccer, dance, art, and swim right now. But she's also done basketball, photography, gymnastics. which really upset Reese because she always wanted to do gymnastics, guitar, piano, drums, and singing. Aunt Mara also discards Reese's plans and has made her cancel to look after her sister, but also made Reese skip her plans when Laura has them and they conflict. In the last year and a half, Reese has just decided to say screw everyone. She's definitely weighed down by it all. We talk about it, because she said I'm the only one who acknowledges it. But I have definitely noticed. We were all gathered for a family dinner Sunday. It was my grandparents' birthday this week, so the family decided to celebrate Sunday. And Reese was in a really bad mood. Aunt Mara told her she was bringing down the mood, and Reese got up and left the table. Aunt Mara said she didn't know what was up with her, but that she's always acting like the whole world is out to get her. So I mentioned that maybe if she didn't show such blatant favoritism, Reese would be happier. My aunts and parents were pissed that I would bring it up, and my grandparents asked what I meant. Aunt Mara said I didn't know what I was talking about, and Reese is such a drama queen. I told my grandparents what I meant, and they were shocked. Aunt Mara said Reese never wanted to do anything, but Grandma remembered how often Reese would ask to do gymnastics. My parents told me it wasn't the correct time or place to bring it up, and I embarrassed Aunt Mara. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. My parents told me it wasn't the correct time or place to bring it up, and I embarrassed Aunt Mara. Not the a-hole. Your aunt's behavior is what embarrassed her, and it's going to have done so regardless when you brought it up. The fact that Opie's parents were okay with a child being treated that way is even more concerning. Opie is not the a-hole, but her parents obviously relied on Mara a lot for childcare and were in no position to criticize her. Opie's parents were very poor according to her description. She hung out at Aunt's house in order to save electricity at her own home. So it's unlikely they had any other childcare options. Common sense says don't put someone on blast when you desperately need their help. Welcome to the world of the working poor. Sometimes you have to eat crap to put food on the table. The problem here is Aunt. Good for Opie for sticking up for cousin, but she has nothing to lose here. So it's not a reflection on the character of her own parents that they never said anything. They may not even have known given that they seem to work a lot. They owe the aunt a lot for providing years of free childcare and are not going to attack her, deserved or not. Your aunt disgusts me. You're not the a-hole. And my heart goes out to Reese. Not the a-hole. If she was embarrassed, she probably does it knowingly, knows it is looked down upon but still doesn't change a thing. Good for you for standing up for your cousin. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for keeping all my recently deceased grandfather's paintings? About 10 years ago, my grandfather was diagnosed with dementia. One of the activities his doctor suggested was that he do paint by numbers kits as a form of mental exercise. So pretty much everyone in my family would get him a kit for his birthday or Christmas. He would give the family member back the completed painting when it was done if they wanted it. The thing is, most sets were pretty generic landscapes or things like that. Well, one day while looking online, I came across a site that made custom sets from photographs you submitted. These were quite a bit more expensive than the kits from the craft store, but I figured my grandfather would enjoy painting things that had meaning to him. The first set I got him was a set of the wedding day for him and my grandmother. Over the years, I got him sets of family portraits, their house, and other things that had meaning to him. Whenever he finished one, the next time I visited he made sure to return it to me. When he died and the family was talking about the funeral, I suggested that we display some of his paintings at the viewing. Turn it into a mini art show because everyone in my family knew about his proficiency with paint by numbers. Turns out that over the years, most of my family had gotten rid of most of the paintings he did. So when I brought in my paintings, everyone was blown away by them. The paintings quickly turned into a topic of conversation at the viewing, with certain aunts and uncles trying to claim various paintings for themselves. After the funeral, there was a small get-together at my grandfather's house for just a close family. The paintings came up there again. My aunts and uncles told me that I should share all the paintings with them and my cousins, so they would all have something to remember him by. That's what he would have wanted. I responded back that they could have kept the paintings I gave them, and they were special to me as well. One of my aunts called me a selfish a-hole for wanting to keep all the paintings. So, am I the a-hole for not sharing the paintings with my other family members? Edit. To clear up a few things I see in the comments, my grandmother died about 4 months ago. We think Grandpa was only hanging on for her. The company got the kits from is no longer in business. It was a small mom-and-pop place, but they sell similar kits. Just have to do a Google search. I'd given 2 of the paintings to my dad before my grandpa passed. They were a painting of my grandfather and my dad and I just after I was born, and a painting of my grandfather in his fishing gear. My dad took him fishing every week up to when he died. I don't know if my family knew about the costume kits. They would be open in family situation, but I don't know if anyone paid any more attention than the other pair of numbers kit. Not day-hole. If they wanted them, they should have kept theirs in the first place. We don't owe them anything. Plus, Opie was the one who went out of their way to do the extra thoughtful step of getting the personalized painting options for him. An extra reason to not share them. Not day-hole. And if they knew he was working on these when he was alive, they could have asked Opie where they got personalized paint by numbers from, and had him paint their favorite photos while he was still alive. Not day-hole. Not day-hole. Asking for the paintings is understandable because they are grieving, but attacking you when you refused is not acceptable. They had the opportunity to treasure his work while he was alive, and chose not to. Also, great idea getting costume kits. There is a possibility that they are grieving and feel guilty about throwing the paintings out, and that is why they are lashing out at Opie. They could also be entitled a-holes. Opie, may I suggest you take high-quality photos of the images and put together some kind of PowerPoint or even book to send your family? Maybe a good Christmas gift. If you can get your hands on a decent enough scan, you may even be able to blow the photos up to 8x10s, or even larger to hand out to family members. This way you get to keep something important, but appease them to an extent.